Hi everybody, this is author Matthew Rolins. I am here today at the Texas Lone Star Book Festival, and I am going to read the first chapter of my middle grade to tween role-playing video game fantasy, Steelwing, which is the story of a 13-year-old girl who goes inside her favorite video game to learn some life lessons with her mom. Chapter 1, Give Me a Hand. Wicked laughter echoed around the dark corridor as I inched toward my goal. Jagged stone walls dripped with foul water while drums of battle blared in my head. I froze as a shadow crossed in front of the opening ahead. He was close. I was close. I raised my trusty sword Valoris and drew in one last gulp of air. Then the beast gave a sickly, disgusting cough. "I can smell you," Steelwing said through fits of throaty hacking. "Zek's corruption has almost taken hold of me. No matter. I'll squash you like a plump bagoo, now or after." My imagination raced at the thought of being as helpless as a common field slime, but the light dancing off the sword in my grasp reminded me of who I was, the hero. I would finally slay this dragon. A timid voice stuttered behind me. Are you ready?" I nodded over my shoulder at the little gnome mage. My heart raced, but my nerves were steady. I was ready. The dragon snorted and bellowed through a fit of laughter. "You're not ready." I stepped forward into the doorway. Then a firm hand grabbed my shoulder and another pulled off my virtual reality headset. I flinched and the game controller slipped out from between my leg and prosthetic hand and flopped onto the floor. "Are you ready, Cammy?" my dad asked. "Dad," I yelled, grabbing for the controller with my good hand, but it was too late. The TV on the wall mirrored the action in my VR headset, and I watched in horror as Steelwing roasted my avatar campfire with his fiery breath. So close, I thought as my shoulders slumped. Kula, the chanter, my favorite companion, didn't stand a chance on her own. Still, she rushed in and began tossing magical shards of ice at the dragon. They pinged off his shiny metal scales until Steelwing swung his huge tail and smashed the little gnome into a wall. Game over. "Dad," I complained, "I haven't been that close to the dragon in weeks." I wasn't going to beat Steelwing. No one ever has. But Dad didn't know that. My father spoke in his calm, sing-songy voice. "Sweetie, it's just a game. You can try again later. Time to go." He patted my back and motioned towards the stairs. I hated that he was right, but it's not every day you get a new arm. Dad and I hopped in the car and began the hour-long drive from our home in Northfield, Minnesota to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester. "Nervous?" he asked after a quiet minute. Yeah, I was nervous. My nerves went crazy every time I got into a car. 3 years ago, a hit-and-run driver smashed his truck into our old minivan. The doctors couldn't save my left arm. "A little," I said, staring at the cornfields through the window. The further we got from home, the faster my heart pumped. I couldn't wait to meet Mom in the clinic and get a big hug. I was devastated after the accident. Now, at 13, I still don't feel whole. Probably never will. But today, my mind was on the cutting-edge bionic arm that was about to become part of me for, quite possibly, forever. It would attach to a metal socket I had connected to the bone in my upper arm through a process called osseointegration. Sensors connected to muscles and nerves would allow my brain to control the arm's artificial joints. "I'm nervous too," Dad said. "Let's call Mom and see where she's at." My tense nerves calmed at this idea. Mom can usually read me like a book, and before the accident always came up with a solution for my problems. She even knew I liked a boy at school before I had recognized it myself. While the phone rang through the car's speakers, I wondered what he would think of the new arm. I hoped he liked it. But when the call went to voicemail, I had a bad feeling. Dad dialed her again, and she finally picked up after 4 more rings. "Hey, Tyler," Mom said. "Sorry, busy here. Cammy with you?" "Hi, Mom. Shouldn't you be on your way to the clinic to meet us?" I asked. The long pause that followed confirmed my suspicion. "Sorry, Cam, I can't make it. I got pulled into another court hearing that's due to start in a few minutes." Instantly, my blood turned hot. I was about to be turned into an actual cyborg. That's a huge thing to miss. "Mom!" I know," she said. "I tried to get out of it. This is so not fair." "You'll do great, and I'll make it up to you tonight with a present from work, okay? Gotta go. Love you." She hung up, and I nearly exploded. Mom is a lawyer for Blue Ox Games, the makers of Steelwing, which should be awesome. But she doesn't even play the game herself. A present from work could be sweet, anything from clothes or secret codes to some of their awesome haptic gear. Normally I would have been excited, but I was tired of her being an hour away in Minneapolis all the time for work, and today was a big day for me. I grunted and resumed my stare down with the cornfields. Lawyers, Dad said, attempting to lighten the mood. After I didn't respond, he coughed and continued. You know how busy Mom gets. It'll be okay. You still got me. I know, Dad, I said, trying not to yell at him. But she should be here for this. For me. Something could go wrong. What if I can't make it work? Maybe we should do it another day. Relax. After a year of hard work and preparation, you're ready, Dad said. If it's not working, that's an issue with the arm, not you. The accident happened, but hockey pucks and your nachos also happen. Your choices define your life story, not what's outside your control. I just shook my head. Losing an arm wasn't my choice, but it sure was going to be the story of my life. It was totally not fair I had to deal with that along with everything else a girl has to deal with at 13 years old. Don't worry, you'll be writing your homework with both hands next month. Gee, I can't wait. Or you can fight your evil dragon. Dad, I said, rolling my eyes, stealing isn't evil, he's misunderstood. There's another bad guy called Melmortis Zek, and this corruption. Whoa there, Slayer, Dad interrupted. You know I can't follow your crazy game story. In one ear and into the frying pan, I laughed, finishing my dad's favorite phrase. He's a professor at St. Olaf College in town and is super smart when it comes to chemistry, but lacks any space in his brain for video games. With the mood lightened, Dad gave my shoulder a playful elbow. Dr. Connor told me you'd be able to play junior hockey again. Interested? He also said the new hand would be able to tap buttons on the game controller faster than Flesh and Blood could. That sounded pretty cool, since I dreamed of being the first person to defeat Steelwing, and that would be a whole lot easier if I had two working hands. But you love hockey. I also love Steelwing. We shared a chuckle, which calmed my racing heart a little. Dad only lightly teases me about how much I play the game. Mom thinks I'm online way too much. Dad tried his best to keep me distracted with small talk, but by the time we pulled into the parking lot at the Mayo Clinic, anxiety had welled up in my stomach like it had the first day at school after I lost my arm. Dad offered me a tissue. Perk up, it's a great day. I know. We made our way through the clinic halls to the prosthetics lab where Dr. Connor was waiting for us. He was my dad's age, but looked way younger. Dad had bits of gray sneaking into his thinning auburn hair and wasn't fat, but never put much emphasis on fitness or fashion, considering his favorite ensemble was a green plaid shirt and wrinkly gray pants. The doc was lean and tan and had a short crop of golden hair and wore a white lab coat on top of a teal polo shirt and pressed tan slacks. Cammy, welcome, Dr. Connor said with a smile and a hug. He shook Dad's hand. Tyler, you must be excited too. Let's get to it. He flipped the latches on a large black case and opened the lid. My eyes grew wide when I saw the bionic arm. Dr. Connor had said I could come up with any design I liked. I hated the not quite human skin look of the old prosthetic, and if I had to have one, I wanted something wild. The arm had a silvery frame made of a super strong lightweight metal called Zeo steel. It was covered in shimmering dark gray carbon fiber panels and had an electric blue backlighting underneath, which totally made the look. It's right there on the cover. The hand was also dark gray, but with metallic blue knuckles. It was exactly as I had requested. Dad said it would be good for me to be bold. Mom thought I was nuts, but didn't offer much protest. Even my older brother Quentin thought it sounded cool, and he doesn't like anything I like. Shall we try it on? The doc asked as he pulled the arm from its case. My stomach couldn't decide if it wanted to throw up or do happy flips, but I nodded, took off my hoodie, and removed the old prosthetic. Over the course of the next hour, we attached the arm, connected the sensors, and then were ready for the first test. Make a fist, Dr. Connor said, just like we practiced before. We had already done this dozens of times with the different sensors individually. Still, my nerves questioned whether I would be able to control the fully assembled arm. I held my breath, closed my eyes, and focused on the place where my real flesh and blood left hand should be. Fist, I thought. Silence. I couldn't look. But then my dad yelped, "Ha!" My new hand was balled in a tight fist. I exhaled. Very good, Cammy, the doc said. Try to move your fingers. Each finger obeyed, if not immediately when I commanded. Is this as fast as it will get? I asked. I thought it would be quicker. Don't worry. He took a small screwdriver and used it to pop up one of the panels on the arm. Inside, there were a trio of dials and a few switches. One of the dials read, Response. He stuck the screwdriver into a small slot on the dial and twisted it to the right. Try the elbow, he said. I moved the elbow joint and it opened almost as soon as I thought about it. I moved the fingers and they were just as quick. Wow, I said, shocked. Incredible, Dad said. Dr. Connor nodded and smiled. Pretty soon you'll be plucking flies out of the air with chopsticks. He retrieved an empty can from the recycling bin and set it on the table. Grab it. I slid the arm across the table and grabbed the can. Piece of cake, I said, grinning. But I don't feel it. Didn't you say the hand would do that? Indeed I did. He flipped a switch inside the arm that said sense. My eyes went wide. Whoa! I could feel the can. It wasn't smooth or cold or anything like that, but it was there. I closed my eyes and enjoyed a sensation I hadn't felt in years. This is hard to believe. It's almost like the real thing. The learning software that runs the arm will get even better with time, the doc said. Amazing, Dad said. Will it be adaptable as she grows? Dr. Connor nodded. We included expansion joints to adjust width and length and can easily make larger panels when you need them. And we can patch the software to add new features. I started to explore what I could do with the arm on my own, but my new fingers wouldn't respond when I tried to squeeze harder. Why would I crush the can? That's another setting, Dr. Connor. Dr. Connor used his screwdriver to turn a dial marked force, just a little bit. Try now. The can dented a little under my fingers. That's not much. What happens if you turn it up all the way? Like this? He twisted the knob as far as it would go. The hand mashed the can into a tight twist of metal. Ha! I laughed. Be careful with that. It's far stronger than a human hand. I released the can and gave a satisfied sigh as it clattered to the table. This arm was cool. Dr. Connor closed the open panel and smiled. We'll get into the other settings at our next visit. Then he grabbed the Minnesota wild cap off my head and tossed it at me. Think fast. I reached my left arm, at the hat, but it sailed by and my bionic hand just flailed in the air at nothing. I sighed. The doc chuckled as he stuffed his hands in his lab coat and walked over to retrieve the hat. Your hand-eye coordination will take some time to improve. He turned the hat over in his hands as he walked back. Watch a lot of hockey? I shrugged. I spend my screen time on other things. Already I was thinking about getting home and trying out my new hand on the game controller. Dad stifled a laugh. The doc laughed too. I remember you saying you played that Steelman game. Did you know I played hockey in college with the Blue Ox CEO? My mouth dropped. You know Zarf Kellogg? That's so cool. Mom had said she rarely sees the CEO around the office. Kellogg is a cult hero among the gaming community and one of the most eligible bachelors on the planet, according to the magazines in the grocery store. Dr. Connor said, pointing to a photo on the wall. It was of a very young Dr. Connor and Zarf Kellogg in University of Minnesota sweaters, standing between other young men with hockey sticks and cheerleaders with pom-poms. I'd like to meet him someday, I said. Your mom could put in a special request, Dr. Connor said. I shrugged. Mom is the least likely gaming company employee possible. She barely tolerates me playing. She'll come around. Everyone plays a little Steelwing, even me, Dr. Connor said, grinning. Time for you to go home and get to work using your new arm. The best things for you will be hand-eye coordination exercises to help the software to learn and improve. Like catch? Dad said. Sure. Video games too, the doc said with a wink in my direction. Thanks so much, Dr. Connor, I said, giving him a big hug with both my arms. It's great. I'm so lucky. He put the cap back on my head and wiggled it a little. You deserve it, Cam. Put it to good use. I couldn't wait to get home and do just that. I saw Coach Sather at the store the other day, Dad said as we walked back into our house. She asked if you were going to try out for hockey next month. Still with the hockey, I replied. I just got my new arm, so that's a big no. I don't need to go whizzing around on the ice waiting for someone to smack it off with a hockey stick. I just wanted to play Steelwing. We could play a little catch. Maybe tomorrow. It's getting a little sore. I rubbed the arm to sell the point, though it actually felt fine. Dad smiled and put his hands up. All right, say no more. He's pretty terrible at playing catch, so he was probably relieved. I'm so proud of you, Cammy. This is the start of something great for you. I know it. He walked over to me and gave me a kiss on the cheek and a hug. Thanks, Dad, I said, returning the hug. Then he sighed when he caught sight of the large stack of papers on the table. Guess I should get to grading these. You probably have goblins to hunt, or maybe some laundry to slay. Definitely goblins. I raced up to my room and put my VR headset on. Steelwing was still on the screen, now curled up into a tight ball and fitfully sleeping on top of Campfire's dead body. His silvery scales had turned black and purple, the result of Melmortis Zek's curse of corruption. Now for the big moment, I thought. A big smile came across my face as I reached with my new hand to pick up the controller. I could feel it between my bionic fingers. Then I heard a sickening crunch. That's the end of chapter 1. In between the chapters of this book, there are game tips, so I'll read one here. This is the game tip for haptic gear. Blue Ox Games Haptic Gear is a series of wearable sensory output devices that wirelessly connect to your game console. The virtual reality headset, gloves, and pads for your chest, arms, and legs, sold separately, respond simultaneously to actions and events in the game, like fighting, taking damage, and moving, by applying pressure and vibrations to the player's body. The result is a more immersive gaming experience. Chapter 2 is called Crushed, but I'll leave it to you to go find it for yourself. You can find Steel Wing online at Amazon or at buildingworldsbooks.com, or you can go into your local bookstore and ask for them to order it for you, and they can find it there. Thanks.